Hello, thank you for coming to this video today, guys. I really appreciate it. This is going to be a cool video. We're going to be going over a lot of stuff. It might be a long one. We're going to be going over Project Catalyst, when the voting's starting, what's going on, the app that was released. We're going to be looking at the app. We're going to see with the issues with inside of it. We're going to be talking a lot about that. We're going to be talking about Goguen news. We're going to be talking about when we're going to get the Goguen hard fork. We're going to be going over when they're going to be releasing that information. We're going to be talking about the Wikipedia platform. We're going to be talking about the Marlow Alpha release. We're going to be going over a lot of cool stuff today, so make sure you guys stay tuned to the video. And if you're just joining, please subscribe, click a like, and then turn that little notification bell on. The notification bell really does help me in YouTube's algorithm. And first off, if you guys want to support me, the best way to do so is by delegating to Bloom. We have Bloom and Bloom 2, both the 2.5 million pledge. We've made a lot of blocks. Last epoch, Bloom alone minted 100 blocks in 5 days. That was pretty awesome. So yeah, make sure you guys delegate to both those pools. Another way to support me is the Brave browser. The link's down below. The Brave browser actually blocks ads and pays you in cryptocurrency. And you can use that cryptocurrency to tip creators, or you can hodl it. I use the browser every day. It's faster than Chrome. It's faster than every other browser I use, so you guys should check it out. I'm also doing stake pool consultations and creating stake pools for people. So if you're interested in that, feel free to contact me at peyton@bloompool.io, peyton@bloompool.io. That'll be in the bottom of the description down below. So let's jump into the video today. So I wanted to talk about this probably just for a minute. The Marlow Alpha version was released. And Marlow is kind of the nice financial way of using smart contracts, right? So let me read this real quick. Marlow is a specific purpose language for financial contracts on Cardano, allowing contracts to be written in the language of finance rather than using a general purpose language on the blockchain. So essentially you can use a web GUI version using Marlow and Blockly, and you can write smart contracts that way versus using an actual programming language like Plutus. So just wanted to, for any of the developers out there that kind of are waiting on information like this, I just want to show you guys this. It's pretty cool. It's awesome to see that the alpha is being released, and soon we're going to see beta, and then we're going to see the full release after some months. So just want to show you guys that. So some more big news is the Cardano Wikipedia page. As you guys may know, we've been censored for a very long time from Wikipedia. Someone over there doesn't like the Cardano project, or they don't like Charles, and they've kind of always blocked it from being up. So Charles actually got someone to take a look at it and then see that there are some censorship issues going on. So the page has been listed. As you can see, it is pretty out of date. And then also we have this tag right here. The article has multiple issues. Please improve it. It also says the listed sources may not be reliable, and this is true. I mean, this is out of date. We need people working on this, and I think Charles actually said he's going to get some people to work on it. So, yep, it's pretty cool to see that we have a Wikipedia page. He also, in that AMA, did a call to action for somebody during using Catalyst to actually make something to make Wikipedia obsolete on the blockchain. So, if you guys are interested in that, write that Catalyst proposal, and maybe we can have you on the Cardano Aura podcast to talk about your relevant experience, what you're trying to accomplish, and how you're actually going to better Wikipedia. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think of this down below. Are you excited to see Cardano on Wikipedia, or does it not really matter to you? I mean, obviously, blatant censorship is always annoying, but at the same time, it's still cool to finally see us on Wikipedia. So let me know what you guys think.
That are, interesting on a case-by-case basis. So we'll keep chipping away at that. A lot of Goguen stuff to talk about, but I'm going to reserve all of that for 2 days from now for the product update. We're right in the middle of all Goguen. Metadata was the very first part of it. We already have some commercialization of the platform as a result of metadata. More to come. And then obviously lots of smart contract stuff to come. So this update and the November update are going to be very Goguen focused, and also a lot of Voltaire news as well. We're still on schedule for an HFC event in, I think, November or December. I can't remember, but that's going to be carrying a lot of things related to multi-sig, token locking. There's some ledger rule changes, so it has to be an HFC event, and that opens up a lot of the windows for Goguen foundations as well as voting on chain. So Fund 3 will benefit very heavily from that. And we're right in the guts of Daedalus right now, building the voting center, the identity center, QR code work, all this stuff. It's a lot of stuff. You know, the cell phone app was released last week, kind of an early beta. It'll go through a lot of rapid iterations. Every few weeks we'll update it. Google Play is a great foundation.
So it's important for me to include these from the AMA because there's a lot of news updates in them. So he kind of dropped a lot of bombs there in that 1 minute of talking. He said there's either going to be a hard fork combinator event in November or December. And if you don't know what a hard fork combinator event is, a fork in a chain is a change in the chain or an addition. So there's going to be a lot of additions to the chain. And the reason he says combinator is because they have this hard fork combinator that allows the aligning of the chain for the updates, right? So it's a hard fork combinator event. It's an event where they use the hard fork combinator to do a fork, right? So that's he said there's going to be a lot of changes, a lot of big news. So he said token locking. Token locking is important for Voltaire. So I've mentioned this before. When you vote, you're going to have your tokens locked up. I don't think that's going to happen for Fund 2, but I know it's going to be happening for Fund 3. At least the facts say that. It's hard to find good information on that, as we're going to say later on in this video. And then also he mentioned a couple other things which are pretty important for Goguen. So that's kind of the Goguen news. And then also he said on Thursday, there's going to be that event with Aparna and Tim Harrison, the monthly product update they do. I think all the big juicy Goguen news is going to be coming out that day. So make sure you guys tune into that tomorrow. If you don't have time, I'll also be doing a recap video tomorrow of that. I thought it would be important to do that because it's going to be the Goguen one. So I'll be doing an extra weekly recap video, not really a weekly recap, but the monthly recap video, I guess you could call it. So yeah, I thought that'd be important to include for you guys.
Chain. So I signed it today for changing the D parameter from 0.52 to 2.5. That means we are just about to cross a threshold here in a little bit for D to fall below 5, which means more than half of all the blocks will be made by the community, not the OPFT nodes. That's a major milestone. And at this current rate of velocity, it looks like D will decrement to 0 around March. So lots to do, lots to talk about. The product update in 2 days. We'll go ahead and talk about that. But it crossed my desk today, and I was really happy and excited about that. And it seemed like yesterday that D was equal to 1, and people were complaining that we delayed it by an epoch. And now we're almost at 50%. For those of you who want parameter level changes, K level changes, they are coming, and there's an enormous internal conversation about it. And we've written up a PowerPoint presentation and a philosophy document about why things were designed the way that they're designed. My chief scientist has put an enormous amount of time into this. Agalos is very passionate about this particular topic. And what I'm going to do is similar to the security video that I did, where I did an hour and a half discussion about a best practice for security. I'm going to actually do a screencasted video where I talk about this philosophy document. And I'm going to read the entire document with annotations with you guys and kind of talk through it. It might end up being quite a long video. It could be several hours long. But I think it's really important to talk around the design philosophy of this. You know, it's kind of funny. Everybody, when they see a cryptographic...
So that was some more really important information and updates, 2 important updates. The first one, specifically that they signed, everyone at IOHK that needed to sign the paper signed it to decrement D to 0.5. So that means that 50% of the stake pools in the network are being minted by stake pools, and 50% of the stake or the blocks are being minted by IOG, right? Which is really cool, and their federated nodes are the ones minting these blocks. So this is an important day for decentralization when we actually do decrement to D equals 0.5. I mean, that's huge. You know, that means that, so for example, Bloom has delegates in the network, and I think we don't own it, but we have about 0.8% of the delegates in the network, right? So that means that we'll be minting about 4.4% of the blocks in the network. So that's pretty cool. It's awesome news, and I'm happy to be able to mint that many blocks in the network. And it's awesome to see Cardano become more and more decentralized, and soon it's going to be ours, you know, the community. So the second thing he talked about is also really important. He talked about that he wants a large increase of K, and also that they're working on coming out with the philosophy on why they chose the initial parameters. They're kind of making something because they already have, right? They've released a couple articles. We went over one of those articles in my video. I think that was back in, I want to say it was back in June. We did a long 30-minute video going over every parameter, why they chose it, and the philosophy behind it, right? And before that video came out, I made a video when I first heard K equals 150. I wasn't very happy about it, and I was basing it on the number of stake pools that there were in the ITN, right? So we had over 300, 400 stake pools actually minting blocks and getting enough stake to mint blocks. So I'm saying, well, why is K equal to 150? That doesn't make any sense. And here's the reason behind that. So it was the reward scheme. So if you think back in the ITN, my stake pool PayDA, for example, minted mini blocks, and our average so if you take the ROA for the 9 months that we ran, the 9 months that the ITN was available, our total percentage was 11% a year, right? So if you compare that to where we're at now, where you only earn about 5 to 6%, that's usually kind of the ground that most stake pools earn. It's 5 to 6%. Anyone earning more is lucky. Anyone earning less is either unlucky or they're not minting their blocks. That's a cut in half, right? So we're getting half the rewards, and it's because they don't want to just pay out all of these rewards all at once, right? We kind of already are. Most of the rewards are going to be paid out from the reward scheme and the game theory that they've chose in the first few years, right? So they set K at 150 and attached it to price. So if you take the rewards that stake pools are going to earn and cut that in half, and I said, well, about 400 stake pools were actually earning and minting blocks. Well, you cut that in half, you cut the rewards in half, that leaves you with about 200 stake pools. And when they actually came up with this philosophy, they said that K has to be attached to price. And it was 150 stake pools at 8 cents. And they kind of talked about all this in that initial philosophy document. And I went from being angry. It's because I was uninformed. So I was angry that K was that low based on the amount of stake pools that created. And if you watch that video, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. I'm sorry for being upset at first. I'm sorry for freaking out. But this makes sense. I don't know more than the initial theorists that came up with these, because we didn't have experience running stake pools. We didn't have experience looking at the ecosystem, So it just was easy for me to get upset that K was so low. And now, so this is my issue with a large increase at this point. So when they said that they're going to increase K, the initial was at 150, and they're going to increase it by 25 to 250. And I was perfectly fine with that, because if you have a pool that's not near saturation and you lower that top by 25, you're going to have a very small percentage of the network that actually has to move, versus if you cut that in half, you're going to have 100% of I guess it would be 50%. You're going to have 50% saturation in some of these pools that are close to it, right? So you're going to have this big network event where everyone has to move. And I think a lot of people are just not going to move, and a lot of people are going to stay saturated, right? And this decrement over time is what I would have preferred, and I think increasing K, maybe even a large increase, would be fine. But I think us as stake pool operators, before we see a large increase where saturation's cut in half, we need ways to talk to delegates with. So I've saw people talk about doing this with an RSS feed, where you can talk to delegates within Daedalus and Yoroi. Another thing that we need, multi-delegation wallets. You should be able to delegate to multiple stake pools. This is another thing that would help pools deal with saturation. There's just, and then another thing, the delegation portfolios, right? You need to, if you have to have multiple pools because the saturation is so low, you need to be able to have a portfolio for your pool. So when someone wants to delegate to any stake pool or a group of stake pools, they can just delegate to the portfolio. That would help manage saturation. There's a lot of tools here that we don't have. This is something basic that I almost forgot about. Daedalus doesn't even really show saturation within pools. There's no notification. Like, if I were going to delegate to a saturated pool, I'm going to earn less rewards, and so is everyone else in the pool. And there's no notification when you click to delegate to a saturated pool that you're making everyone else in that pool earn less rewards, right? So it's really going to, if you do a large increase of K, you're going to lower rewards for the majority of the network, because the majority of the network is delegated to pools that are in the I would say 120 to 200 million range, right? So the 120 to 200 million range. And when you cut saturation down to 100 million, you're saturating the majority of the network, and then we don't have the tools to actually deal with this, right? As soon as we have these tools, then it's going to be fine, and the large increase of K is not gonna hurt anyone, But without these tools, I think it's not really good for the network. It's not good for the health of the network, But I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. What you guys think. This is a real touchy topic, and when anyone says their opinion about this, especially someone with a successful pool, it's always, oh, you're just saying that for yourself because you want to hog all of the money in the ecosystem. No, like I said multiple times, I'm fine with an increase of K. K should have already increased by now, but it should have been those little increases so the network could actually handle it. And I don't think we should have a large increase without having the tools to deal with it, because you want to talk about it just doesn't seem right. I mean, if you don't have the tools to allow your delegates to actually move to other pools, then it just doesn't make much sense to me. So let me know what you guys think about this down below. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. I'll make sure to keep you guys up to date. So I want to give another shout out to Bebop Pool. This is the second time sponsoring the weekly recap videos. I really appreciate it. As you guys know, YouTube only pays about $4 per video, so it's nice to have a sponsor. So make sure you guys check out his pool. It's Bebop and Be Cool. It's a Cardano stake pool. I'll have a link to this tweet down below. He's trying to advertise to some whale delegates, so make sure you guys check that out. So we're going to be taking a portion of this video to talk about what has been going on with Catalyst. There's been a lot of misinformation coming out, some by me. It's because there's not a good way to find this information. The only way that this information has been coming out, it seems, is from the town halls. They do these weekly town halls. There's one today scheduled at 2 p.m. I'm not good at deriving information from videos. It's just not how my brain works. I can't remember video content. It's hard for me to focus on it. I learned from reading, right? So we need a general source for this information so I can make videos about it for the people that are video learners, right? And for the people that don't view the town hall, because not everyone views these town halls, right? I think that a small majority of the people that actually participate in Catalyst, or a small majority of the people that are actually going to vote, actually view these town halls. So I think there needs to be another source of this information. And when I went and asked the chat about it, and I said, well, what's going on? When's the voting starting? Everyone was rude to me, right? They're like, you should already know this. This information came out in the town hall last week. I watched the town hall last week, and I don't remember that information, right? So how is the average person who doesn't watch the town hall, how are they going to know what's going on? Because they're the ones supposed to be voting on this, right? So there are some issues going on with with Voltaire and Catalyst, and I'm sure they're going to be worked out. But if you guys remember, I think he said that the Catalyst and voting and stuff was going to come out in August. Here we are at the end of October. The first vote hasn't started yet, but we do have the website. Stuff's going on, and that's why I do have the app here. So the app's released, and I'm not being mean. I'm not spreading FUD. I think it's just important to say this stuff sometimes. You know what I mean? Just my experience, and I'm trying to give you my experience as someone within the community. So maybe you guys can see that maybe you are mean when people don't understand. So this is the app. So I talked about this a little bit in my live stream earlier, but the way it's going to work is there's going to be a dataless thing that you're going to be able to use, and then you're going to scan a QR code. And what you do is you click computing, so then you're going to go to scan voting QR, and look, this comes up. So you'll be able to see that. That's my mouse pad right there. So you'll be able to scan, and then we can back out of there. And as you can see, the app has been voted. So look, this is one thing I wanted to point out. Look, how do I register vote? Lorem ipsum. I mean, if you guys have been programmers or done anything else, you know that lorem ipsum is placement text. It's what's put there so people will update it later, right? So this has been a full app release with lorem ipsum test, and I understand that they probably just released this app to actually try out They released this app to try out the Google Play system, right? They also pushed it to iOS. This app isn't currently available on iOS. It's only available on Android from the Google Play Store. So they pushed this app to Google Play, and you can see it worked, right? But this is where I kind of have issues with what's going on here. You click this, you still see lorem ipsum test. Charles Hoskinson tweeted out to probably 50 to 100,000 people that this app was released, yet we still have lorem ipsum tests here. I mean, this has to be a little bit more professional than it is. I mean, let's be honest here, guys. Charles Hoskinson, no offense to him, he might not even have saw the text in there, but he should not tweet out, not him, this app should be finished before it's tweeted out to 100,000 people, at least in my opinion. I think this makes us look bad. And then, so right here, voting on proposals hasn't started yet. Check back when the voting starts on October 29th. And this is what I have an issue with, right? So right here, October 29th, 2020, this is when the voting is going to start. So I've been told multiple times that the voting starts on the 21st of October. I've made a video about it. It's from the FAQ. It's from the website. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the website right here. So the 21st of October. So then I watched that town hall. What I derived from the town hall is that it was delayed a week. So my guess would have been the 28th, the voting starts, right? So then that leads us, this is from the Project Catalyst website on the main page, right? So this should be up to date. The average person who is interested in voting, who wants to read proposals, is going to view this on this page, right? So it says the 21st. It says votes are counted on the 11th of November, and it's paid on the 16th. So then when you go back to the app, as we did earlier, look, starts on the 29th. So this is where I was confused about this, so I messaged the chat where people talk about this, and I said, hey, what's going on? When does this start? And that's when it just seemed like everyone was rude to me, as if I should know what's going on when there's different dates everywhere. So I asked, when does the actual voting start? Well, guess what? It doesn't start on the 29th. It's to be determined. So we have no idea when we're going to vote. It might be announced today at the town hall at 2 o'clock, but hope I accidentally turned that sideways. I just thought it would be important to go over this and kind of show some of the issues that are going on with Voltaire. It's just this is a little bothersome to me as someone who participates in the community, who's always paying attention, who always tries to stay up to date, that I don't know what's going on. I've been told different things 50 times because I do have a proposal, so I do try to keep up to date with this stuff, but there's so much going on. People have to live lives. People have to also keep up to date with this stuff, and there needs to be a central source of this information. The information needs to be consistent. I understand if dates are wrong, but you have to change them. If the date's to be determined, then please change on the app to be determined, and please change on the website to be determined, right? I mean, this has been 21st of October since before, even it's been this, even though they delayed it, right? So I just have an issue with this, Let me know what you guys think of this down below. The whole Voltaire thing has kind of been slow. And I don't have an issue with it, I wish that there was information that was being constantly updated. Then when I come and ask questions, I don't have people just be rude to me as if I should know what I'm doing. My whole thing is I try to answer questions for people that maybe should already know that answer, because not everyone was there at that time when that question was answered. So I don't know. Just wanted to let you guys know what was going on with Voltaire. As far as when you should be able to vote, I don't know. It's to be determined. We might figure it out today at 2 o'clock. But that's the best information I have right now. I do know that the assessment period ends today. So the voting period will be coming soon. As far as when, we have no idea. The app says the 29th. It could be the 29th, but don't count on it, because when I asked the actual product manager, he said it multiple times, but I didn't hear him. But he said it's to be determined. So that's the best information I can get for you guys thus far. Would love to know your opinion on it. That's this week's weekly Cardano recap. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Please type down below Project Catalyst if you've made it this far in the video. I would really appreciate it. The comments help me out in the algorithm. Also, clicking that notification bell and that like button is a huge support for my channel. It's pretty simple, and you guys don't realize how much it actually does for the algorithm for me. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions or feedback, feel free to comment down below. And also, thank you guys for all the support lately. It really means a lot. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. A video coming tomorrow. It's going to be a recap over the monthly product update. So make sure you guys tune into that. I'm also doing a Cardano Aura episode on Friday. So a lot of big stuff's happening. Make sure you guys tune into both of those. I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Goodbye.